Alright, here we are, about to start a new project. This is going to be Heisenberg or Walter White from Breaking Bad. And I'm going to do it to kind of look like the graffiti version of him from the show, but I'm going to paint it to be like, a realistic portrait. And I got some little crystals on the bottom that I'm going to do. Have some blue crystals, and then we'll have some blue smoke in the background, kind of like the Tony Soprano painting. It's kind of what gave me the idea to do this. But yeah, this is going to be a fun one. And here we are, starting off blocking out the background with the crystals. I use a little bit of a kind of a bright orange, kind of a red almost. Just because I knew that would give me some good contrast with the blue background I was about to do. And I also kind of started off the smoke with the same color, it looks like. Cool. Man, this painting took me a long time to do, probably close to 3 weeks. So watching this early parts of it, it's kind of interesting because I don't really remember. Yeah, I remember I definitely got those sunglasses done a little faster than the rest of the stuff. I got the face and that hat to a certain point, and then started really tackling that smoke a lot more. Just because I knew that was going to be, the part of this that took the longest. So the faster I got done with that, then the faster the rest of it would get done. So yeah, you can just see me kind of blocking in the basic shape of the face, getting the darker parts of it with this blue. Getting the wrinkles in, just the, darker folds of the skin, the darker little pockets. It was interesting doing this one with the sunglasses over it and not focusing on eyes at all, just kind of the rest of the face. It's a nice change of pace. Part of me regretted putting that orange in because it was really kind of, I don't know, it was kind of annoying to neutralize it. It really stood out against the other colors I was using, so it took a lot more work to tone it down to where it wasn't distracting. But I'm pretty happy with the result of it. And honestly, doing stuff like that, it kind of forces you to think outside of the box a little bit, and the end result comes out a little better for it, I think. A lot of times I'll create little problems like that for myself to try to come up with solutions to. Because a lot of the painting, like me having done this painting, the parts of it that bother me are parts that just the average person that would look at would have no idea about. So that's something to keep in mind if, say, you set something up for yourself, like me doing that orange, and it proves to be kind of annoying later on to get through that. Somebody else looking at it would have no idea about that. And it's kind of cool that little hints of it kind of poke out here and there. I blended a light blue into it, and it kind of made like a green, Like if you blend orange and blue together, you get kind of a green. Yellow and blue together make green, so orange is like a little bit of a darker version of yellow with red mixed in. So you get kind of a nice green, kind of a deep, kind of a little bit of a darker green, which played off the blue pretty well, so in the long run it worked out good. But you want to pick colors starting off that contrast against each other so that you can kind of get a idea for the bigger picture. Just so that, say, the edge of that hat stands out against the background, for example. You want to make sure that everything's nice and clear for yourself. Put some of that orange in the sunglasses also. Just makes it a little more interesting. I'm trying a different format for this video where it's just going to be straight time lapse through most of it. I don't really check in day to day because as it got into the later stage of this painting, it became obvious that it's going to be a little longer, and it became kind of hard to keep track of what day it was. Is this day 6 or 7 or 8? Who cares? Didn't really add much to the video anyway. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you think I should check in daily, just kind of give progress of where it's at. It does kind of show, you know, gives you a better idea of how much time it takes to do these things. But yeah, with this one, I just got so drawn into that smoke and all the minutia that I just kind of lost track of time, how long it was taking. I definitely spent at least just a week on the smoke, but it's kind of hard to determine too because I didn't work on it every day, and some of it was just like a couple hours here, a couple hours there. I was pretty busy these few weeks that I was working on this, just with other, life stuff. And picking a bigger project to do in the middle of all that probably wasn't the best way to go, but we got through it. Adding a little bit of detail into these crystals. Wanted to give myself a little bit of a start on it. Same thing with the face. Like, I got the face to a certain point that once I was done with the smoke and the crystals, it really only needed like a couple hours of work. Pretty glad I did it that way. Definitely made it easier to manage. Man, I did this whole thing with this really tiny brush too, just to kind of get a lot of detail out of it. I don't really like painting with thick brushes. I really like really, really tiny, thin brushes. So that probably took me a long time too, but I don't know, that's just what I like. Yeah, you can see I just corrected the curve of that hat. It was kind of bugging me. He was kind of looking like a little eggheadish. So I brought the edge of that hat down a little bit. That kind of corrected it. Really cool watching the blue go in. This whole piece was really satisfying to do once you got to the point where you could start laying blues in and just kind of see it all together, come together. It's a lot of fun. The goatee was a lot of fun too. Just doing every little bit, layer by layer. You don't want to try to paint or draw out each individual hair. Just kind of get the amount of detail you want in, little bit by little bit. One layer has something you like and you keep that. Maybe there's some stuff you don't like with that layer and you can omit it. You can just paint over it. But preserve that one bit of that one layer that you like and build off of that. The next layer is going to have some more stuff that you like. Build off of that. Blending a little bit of brown into the darker corners of that face. Brown with the blue to make black. And same with the hat. The last layers that I did on the hat were blue, just to kind of give the whole thing a nice blue kind of a sheen to it. Very blue painting, this one. Definitely used a lot of blue paints. But I also used a lot of green. A lot of phthalo green went into this. Some reds, some yellows. Definitely a couple other greens. Definitely going to be doing some more monochromatic kind of stuff in the future, and that's always fun to do because you see how many different colors really go into something that's like all blue or all red. You need more than just blues and reds to make it work. And the smoke was fun to do. I didn't really have any reference for it. The way that I did it in that Tony Soprano painting recently was still kind of in my head, so I kind of just went for it. And I just kind of started off doing some squiggly lines, and I wanted to have a certain flow to it, so kind of figured that out with the squiggly lines, and then at that point you start figuring out your layers, and you need some darker layers to be the kind of furthest background kind of layers. Then you need some middles, and the front layers you just use negative space with. And I wanted to use a lot more negative space with this one, and I wanted to have a little bit more of a flow to it than the Tony Soprano one did. Definitely want to, expand on things that you do, different versions of in the future. It's always fun to expand on things, try to learn more, try to get better. And right there I'm going into that orange with the phthalo green, and I'm just trying to neutralize some of the brightness of it by cutting down that phthalo green with water and painting a few layers over that orange with it. You can build it up into a little more of an interesting green. Really cool kind of a color. And it blends well with the blue, so that's cool. Some of these squiggly lines that I started off with didn't really end up working out, and you just kind of paint over it with white as you're figuring out the flow of it. You're never just gonna put it down there perfect the first try. And you can see me building up more of the wrinkles in the face there with the light blue. I definitely wanted his face to have some blue undertones, and I painted over it with a flesh tone. And then I blended a little bit of a really light blue into that, and kind of the edges where the highlights meet the flesh tone. We'll get to that later. This video I'm definitely splitting up into a couple different parts, just it took so long. I don't want to upload a video that's like almost an hour long. I'm not really sure what all the footage comes out to together, but I got a little past the point where I left off with this video, and it was past the 30-minute mark, and I didn't really want to upload anything that was longer than 20 minutes, so we're going to chop this one into 20-minute blocks. There's a couple portions where I recorded it in real time also, so I might upload that and record a voice track to it at some point. We'll see how long it takes to edit and upload these other ones. And I'm starting to get some of the blue in here. I wanted to establish the darker background areas, so getting that blue into there, blending it over the greens that I put down, and we're going to see the smoke come to life over time, layer by layer. Definitely want to have a lot of dark spaces to kind of balance everything out as far as the background goes. It's hard to put into words how to do something like this. I mean, you can see it coming together with the solid colors there, sort of establishing what layers are background, what's foreground, the smoke. Then you just have this face coming through the middle of it. And it takes time, for sure. Like I was saying, I definitely spent at least a week on the smoke alone. But we're getting pretty into it now. We got about 4 minutes left in this video. So at the end of this video, you'll see the smoke. It'll be at a point where you can kind of see the direction where it's going. We'll pick up where we leave off. I don't know, if I had to do this again, I probably wouldn't have done as bright of an orange. I might have used like a red or something like that. That would have been a little bolder and would have been less annoying to paint over. I'll remember that next time I paint some smoke. That phthalo green definitely came in handy though, because it was really versatile. You could cut it down a lot, blend it into the orange, or you could leave it pretty thick and put it in there just as a really, really dark green. And with these different layers, I tried not to like outline them so much as just blend against them, if that makes any sense. And I wanted the face to have a nice dark background to sit against the edges of where the cheeks end and the ears and whatnot, just to make it clearly distinguishable what was what. There I am, getting the background a little darker right against that ear, just to make the face pop out a little more. Definitely want your background to add to your foreground, and you want it all to complement each other. The background on this one was super, super busy, but I think having the face right in the middle of everything kind of breaks it up enough to where it's not overwhelming on the eyes. And the smoke has enough flow to it to, I don't know, kind of draws you into it without being rough or intrusive. That doesn't make any sense. But yeah, just working on that background more, chipping away at it, little bit by little bit. Definitely might not have had the patience to finish something like this. Oh, even a few months ago. But starting off with those more simple faces and building up to this, it was a fun progression. We're coming up on the end of this one, so hit like if you enjoyed watching it, and definitely check out the next part that's coming up. Part 2.